Raise your hand and answer this question. If there's one thing you want more of as a sales rep, what's that? All right, it's a given. I know you're going to say you want to get more money. You want to get more deals closed. Well, the second thing you want most as a sales rep is what? Qualified leads. Now, what if you had some tools that can help you to get the right leads, get to the right people, the people who can help you to close more deals, man? Wouldn't that be great? I know it will. So in this conversation today, I'm talking to Joshua Smith, and we're going to tackle some tools that can help you do just that. Check it out. This episode is brought to you in part by Audible. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and go to audibletrial.com/TSE and get one free book and a 30-day free trial. Again, audibletrial.com/TSE. This episode is also brought to you in part by TSE Certified Sales Training Program. If you're a sales leader looking for a tool to help your sales reps find better prospects, have more meaningful conversation, and learn how to ask more powerful questions, and ultimately close more deals, we encourage you to check out TSE Certified Sales Training Program. The first 2 modules are absolutely free. You can find more information at thesalesevangelist.com/free course. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we're bringing back a friend of ours named Joshua Smith. He was on a podcast last year in August, and we're going to link back to his previous episode in the show notes. But today, Joshua is actually going to give us some insights, as I mentioned in a teaser, on tools that can help us to generate more leads. Joshua, he is not big on biographies, but the truth is he is a real salesperson, not a superhero. And he's not a motivational speaker. He's not a multimillionaire, self-acclaimed social media entrepreneur. However, he is serving as sales director of a real company on the front line closing deals. Within 8 years, he's gone from cleaning toilets in a supermarket to now being the sales director of an 8-figure company in the mobile game space. He's also the co-founder of a couple businesses and most recently author of the book Stacked. So needless to say, this is not only going to be a fun episode, but it's also going to be an educational episode that's going to help you to make sure you find the best tools to help you to find the most qualified leads. Let's go ahead and dive into the conversation. Welcome to the show, Josh.
Hey, Don, how you doing?
Man, I'm super excited. I'm grateful that you're able to come back on a podcast with us today and to share some more insights with us that can help us. And as I mentioned in a teaser there, Josh, you were on the show last year around this time, and now you're back. So it's kind of cool to have you again a full year later.
Yeah, weird how the stars align. I think it was quite literally this month, and really weirdly today I went to the exact same spot that we did the last one. So if the timing was different, if we did this 4 or 5 hours ago, we'd be in the same spot. But lucky today, we haven't got the background noise. I'm in the office, so yeah, we're better for audio today. But it was just so freaky. I drove past the same place. I thought, Jesus, man, this is deja vu. But no, the pleasure's mine. Right? I appreciate coming on. I think you know this. I'm a fan of the podcast. I get my team to listen to this. Because I guess not knowledge is power and knowledge is perspective, right? So that's why I'm a fan. That's why my team are a fan. So yeah, really the pleasure is honestly mine.
Well, dude, man, it's an absolute honor. And then today I'm super excited for what we're going to talk about because we've been focusing on the idea of sales tools here with the Sales Evangelist this month and different sales tools we could take advantage of. But the one place that I find that many sales reps have a difficult time, and you could tell me if this is the same thing with your team, but they tell me, Donald, if I could get in front of more qualified people, I'll close more deals. And I think that's where it comes down to. And so many salespeople just will not raise their hand and say, I dig prospecting.
No, it's true. I think Forbes did an article 2-3 weeks ago. 65.8% now of a salesperson time is spent on non-revenue generating activities.
65
or 65.8 or something around that. It was in the 60s. It was like 2/3 of a seller's time is spent now on non-revenue generating activities, which is huge when your job is to sell. So yeah, I guess the main thing is how do we as a small business, but also the same for any business, right? I mean, I was speaking to the VP of UiPath this morning, and they're one of the fastest growing companies in the world. They're like 3 years old. They've raised over £1 billion in funding. They're so fast growth. I mean, we're talking like thousands of % per year. And even them as a business, they're still looking at how they can better optimize their lead generation process, as if theirs isn't enough, right? Thousands of % growth. Like, yeah, you're talking slight greed, but thousands of % growth. And they're still looking at how they continuously improve the lead generation process, as are we. And I guess the bad news about it, right? And you should probably know this, being the chief blogger at HubSpot now, right? They did an article and a chart recently, kind of about the different sources or different channels you can utilize for B2B lead generation, right? So they were looking at kind of, PPC, social media, telemarketing, all these different channels. And the reality is that they physically couldn't even pinpoint which channel was the most effective, right? So they aligned all of these different ones, B2B, so telemarketing, PPC, all these different things, right? I mean, let me ask you this. If you saw a graph on B2B lead generation, which channel would you say, which established channel would you say is going to generate the most leads in a B2B environment?
Maybe like the web-bound leads, like stuff coming in from the website?
Same. That's what, no. That's what I thought. I thought one of the two, right?
Yeah.
In truth, the part on the graph that was the highest was a section called Other. So even HubSpot, with all their data, couldn't actually define a category that generated the most leads. There was telesales, there was all these different super well-established channels. And the one that was the highest was Other, which just means they simply don't know what activities actually generate the most. And I think, as much as that sounds like bad news for everybody, that I can't give this piece of really great info now to show you what generates the most leads. I think that also that's a huge opportunity, right? Because I guess for me, and this is just opinion perspective, I'm not HubSpot, I haven't got the data that they have. But what Other symbolizes to me is actually there's just tons of really amazing tools out there that we can all utilize. But the reality is not all of us actually know what these tools are. So they're just not identified. They're not publicized the same as social media or PPC or telemarketers. So they're just categorized as Other. And I think our job now as salespeople is to actually really start identifying what different tools we can all use, right, to effectively generate leads at scale, and how we can, more importantly, automate some of that process.
So true, man. Well, one of the things I neglected to share, I kind of mentioned that to you at the beginning, but tell us a little bit more about what you do, man.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I guess this has changed quite considerably, right, since the last time I was on. So, I mean, I still own a small company in the UK called Fizzy Blocks, but I think more excitingly, we've gone through a pretty cool transformation over the last 7-8 months from a product perspective. So we're a revenue acceleration agency, essentially. That's what we've been doing for 3 years, is training different businesses how to grow revenue, so training and consultancy and all that stuff. But 7 months ago, we were thinking strategically about the sort of direction of the business. And what we saw was that there's a lot of places now for sales reps, for sales managers, for directors to actually go and get really useful education, right? But the problem that we saw is, or more of the thing that we wondered, was where do actual people at the top part of the sales profession, the chief sales officers, the VPs of global sales, where do they go to upskill? Where do they go to be educated? Because their kind of challenges are so much bigger than ours, right? When you're responsible for multiple billions in revenue rather than, me, a few million or kind of the average sales rep on a similar scale. Where do the real big guys or girls go? So that's what we wanted to create, right? Our mission now is to create the #1 platform in the world for senior sales leaders to network, to mindshare, to problem solve, and obviously intimately discuss the pressing topics at the top level of revenue generation. So that's what we're doing in September this year. So like 40 days away. It's close. It's exciting. We've got our first gathering. So we're bringing together 45 VPs to a set location in the UK for a couple of days to do all that stuff I mentioned. And then next year, we're looking to do 3 in Europe. And then hopefully, providing we can deliver on kind of the experience that we want to, we should be coming stateside in 2021.
Woohoo! Look at that, man. That's awesome.
It's a trip. Yeah, some good weather for me, I think, for a change, because the UK is pretty doom and gloom, although today is 31 degrees. So yeah, I've defied the odds today for sure.
Well, today is in Florida right now. It's a thunderstorm outside. So Well, we took the rain from you. There you go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Just do that some more often, right? Because today I've got shorts on. As much as my legs ain't pretty, it's definitely good news. But
we'll hold on to it for you. We won't send it back.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. So yeah, I guess we want to get into some tools, right?
Let's talk about those tools, man. What's the first one that you would recommend that can help us when it comes to qualified leads? And clearly, based on your experience, the company you run, the organization you lead, and what you shared at the very top of the episode, you have this experience interacting with these different sales reps. So this qualifies you. So take us away. What's the first tool?
Yeah, and I think the first one right here, it isn't going to be kind of news to anybody. I think the first one that we just need to talk about, just based on us getting so many leads from this, it is honestly just LinkedIn, right? But what I will say before we kind of break this down, the way that we picture leads in our business and data is essentially fuel, right? Data is the new fuel of the economy in the business world. And for us, leads are essentially that. So one thing that we do say is that, look, we're on a long business journey, and what we can't do with fuel is just rely on one gas station, right? So as much as LinkedIn is amazing and we get a huge amount of leads from it, we're not ever solely reliant on one place to provide our fuel. But yeah, LinkedIn for sure is huge, because sellers today, they need to become their own content marketers, right? To be able to really meet the demands of the modern buyer. So if you're not using LinkedIn effectively, and I don't want to make this a training thing, I think that's a different episode, but for sure, LinkedIn can do wonders for your business in terms of connecting with people, with prospects, especially high-level decision makers in a space where they feel safe about it. LinkedIn can certainly help you achieve that. And one thing just to be mindful of it without kind of diverting into too much around how to use it is if you do upgrade to premium, right? And I was a big kind of anti-LinkedIn premium guy for quite some time. I was all about using it for free. But one thing that we've done since using it for free is using it on the paid level, is actually like you can see what your social selling index is. So you can actually measure yourself against the people in your network, the people in your industry, the people even in your own business, based on how good your social selling profile is versus everybody else, which is a really, really good indicator of where you are and obviously how effective you're being on LinkedIn. So I think this morning I checked mine. I do check it literally every day now. It's become like this thing that I'm just anal about measuring. I think this morning mine was say 84 or 86 as an SSI, which puts me top 1% of my network, top 1% of my industry, top 1% of my business, right? But people obviously are way higher than me. I don't know what yours is. You're pretty good at the thought leadership stuff on LinkedIn. Do you use premium?
I do. I haven't checked my score though.
Yeah, no, we'll don't for right now, because it'll probably make mine not sound as great.
Whatever, dude. No, but that's very good though, because I think that's something that I can say that what I've seen sometimes is we fall off, or I've fallen off in the category of not really, how would you say it? Not really pushing my social effort because I'm focusing more on automation, right?
Absolutely.
That step. And so I think I'm grateful that you mentioned that as one of the very first things, is that we need to create content. Is there anything else that you feel that we can do to help get more qualified leads? And I'll give you an example too. The other day, I had a conversation with someone, and it was directly because of my LinkedIn efforts. And it was an initial conversation, which is turned into an opportunity. And I can tell you directly, it's because of that. And it felt so good, Josh. It felt so easy to move into that category. It was like a natural part of the transition. Let's take the conversation off LinkedIn and go to a phone call. And it wasn't sleazy. And actually, he's the one that raised his hand because of the stuff that I shared.
Yeah, and I think that is the value around it, right? You become positioned as this person that can help providing. Your content's good, and my content isn't the best, right? As a benchmark, I'm probably not the person to look at, but probably the last 6 months, I've really honed in more so on content than kind of just constantly direct outreach, right? And the leads that has generated has been really significant. So I think what you've just got to be mindful of is genuinely providing value, not just posting for the sake of posting. It doesn't need to even be every day. But what I do is I'll go and evaluate my prospects' products, without telling them. So I'll go to kind of one of the sales reps, I'll have a demo or a test drive, and then just give my feedback generally on the actual experience. And if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good. But at least then they see it, and naturally they'll engage with me and wonder why I've done it. So then it just starts a natural dialogue. So that's one thing I would definitely recommend. Look at some of your prospects and start evaluating what they're doing, but do it publicly.
Yeah, very interesting on that. And I think what I'm hearing from that is that it takes work. And I think that's where some people will drop the ball. Like, oh, that's too much work. I can't do that, man. And it's like, no, if you want to get the qualified leads, you got to put the time in. And I think it goes back to what we shared at the beginning, that salespeople want to get leads, but they don't want to do the prospecting.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with the rise of AI and automation, it's people have become entitled to not do the work. And they rely too much on the actual physical technology that we have around us, but still forget the basics, the fundamentals that LinkedIn now has been established as a platform for a long time. And the amount of revenue generated from that platform, for me, it's probably even been 70% of the total sales revenue that I've generated in my career. It's probably a product of LinkedIn. Obviously there's, good traction at trade shows and things like that, but even still, the interaction is started there. If I'm going to a trade show, I'll hit the person up on LinkedIn and say, look, we're both going to the same place. Let's grab a coffee, whatever. But it always, or generally always, starts there at some capacity. And if not, for a while that they're going to look on LinkedIn to see who I am and what I'm about before we actually meet. So for sure, you need to allocate time. Time is something that won't be kind of eliminated from LinkedIn. For sure, with the other stuff, look at automation, because there's a load of great tools that you can use. Obviously, from a content perspective on LinkedIn, there's nothing preventing you kind of block making the content you're producing and auto schedule it, so you don't have to manually upload it every day or every week or however often you want to do it. And there are even plugins that automatically message people on your LinkedIn. As soon as you connect, you can set up direct messages that happen without your interference. But then I think you just eliminate the personalization touch, which for me on LinkedIn is the most important part. If you're going to message somebody, make it personal. Don't just copy and paste stuff, because then ultimately the conversations aren't going to be nowhere near as good as if you actually spend the time on the thing.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, Joshua and I are going to pick up where we left off and finish the list of sales tools that you should be using to get more qualified leads. You're listening to the Sales Evangelist podcast, and I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. So this month we had Amazon Prime Day. And of course, we got to get some toys. One of the toys we got was an Echo. And the cool thing about the Echo Dot is that it connects to my Audible. So like this weekend, I'm sitting here cleaning the house. So you know what I started to do, right? Alexa, play The Power of Habits.
Getting your selection from Audible. Resuming The Power of Habit.
And willing to chat. It was easier to get a cookie.
Now obviously you don't need an Echo to do that. Nor do you have to have Alexa. You just need an Audible account. Simply go to audibletrial.com/TSE. You'll get one free book of your choice, and you'll get a 30-day free trial. One of the books I recommend is The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. It is absolutely amazing. Check it out for yourself. Take advantage of the free gift. Go to audibletrial.com/TSE. This episode is also brought to you in part by TSE Certified Sales Training Program. As a young sales rep, I didn't have the proper coaching and guidance that I needed, but fortunately, the company I worked for put me through a training program, and it was legit. My performance was like a hockey stick. It just happened overnight. But to maintain that, I was part of a program that met every single Friday, and I was like, man, that's so legit. That's awesome. What if we had a program like that in the future? And that's where TSE Certified Sales Training comes in. Each week, you go through a module. Do it on your own, at your own pace, about 5 videos. At the end of the week, we come together as a group, and you hear from sellers from different industry who bring different insights based on the content that they digested from the module. It's a really fun group, and I would love to have you join us. Check out the first 2 modules absolutely free. Go to thesalesevangelist.com/free course. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/free course. Hey, we're back, and we're going to pick up where we left off and finish up the list of tools that you can use to make sure you generate more qualified leads. Joshua has been sharing those. You can find all the links back into the show notes when you're done, in case you're driving or you're at the gym. Let's go back into the conversation. And that's what I keep coming back down to. It's you can't get past human. Like you can't get past real, genuine. And I think that's what the world lacks nowadays is the genuineness. And I know it's overplayed, and I want to get to a couple of these other tools, but it's just so darn true. If you're not genuine, you're not going to get the qualified leads. You're not going to get connected with people. You can reach out to 10,000 people on DuckSoup or something like that. Yeah. You may get like 3 of them. DuckSoup is that, one of the tools that, give the automated LinkedIn message. But you're going to be like, you may seem like you're productive, but in actuality, your return is going to show that you're not. And go back to what you're sharing there is, I think sometimes as an organization, we say, well, 60% of our time is doing non-sales activity. And then we want to automate that to make sure we're doing, some of the things that are going to take up that time, but some of the sales activities, but we just need to really focus on maximizing our time on the sales activities and to get rid of the things that are not, and trying to automate the stuff that we should be doing. That's where sometimes it can work, but I think we just can't take ourselves out of the picture. That makes sense. So you can use automation, of course. You want to make our life easier, but you can't just abandon it and let it run on its own. That's where you find challenges.
No. I don't think we'll ever be completely eradicated by technology. Although they do say non-digital natives will be kind of out of jobs in 2 years, but humans fundamentally need interactions. We are social animals. Yes. There's no kind of hiding from that. That's just life. That's just human nature. So, sales based around emotion can't really be given or received by something that's robotic. It needs to be from a person. So for sure, don't look at everything with automation. Obviously look at streamlining things to make the time more effective and spend more time selling. But some things just need to stay natural for sure.
Oh, for sure, man. All right. Well, I keep pulling you away from all this stuff. Let's get to the second tool that you recommend.
Yeah, for sure. And this one for me is super, super interesting, especially in the European market, right? Because I know that Zoom Info, for example, in the States is huge. But for us in Europe, Zoom Info isn't really that great. I think the data accuracy is pretty poor. I've used it a bunch of times. It's pretty expensive. So what there is, it's a company based out of Ireland, but definitely use it in the States because the data accuracy is great. There's a whole bunch of functionality that make this worth using. It is a product called Sales Optimize. Sales Optimize. It's like way cheaper, probably 40% cheaper than what Zoom Info would cost you. And the way to picture this, right, is just imagine Zoom Info, give it a facelift, make its data more accuracy, make it 40% cheaper, and just allow it to give you slightly different insights or technographics, whatever the right term is that Zoom Info use. And that's essentially what Sales Optimize is. So it's a market intelligence platform. It scans the internet to extract company data. So you can, reveal even things like what technology the company used to build a website, who is their hosting provider, what are their annual revenues, what are the associated brands that they have. But then obviously, and most importantly, on a lead perspective, all of the contact information around the people that work there. But how this works from an actual usability standpoint is like you're using Zoom Info, right? Or you're using LinkedIn to search people. You just type in the job function that you're searching for, the geography that you want them to be in, the industry that you want them to work for, and perhaps the company headcount, right? That's kind of the traditional way of doing this. But one thing I learned, and I spoke with Liz, the CEO, literally today, because they don't do it like this. And she explained why, because I was confused. I'm always used to kind of doing it that way. But she said, look, why are you searching for a human? That person isn't going to be at the company forever. And what you're doing, you're effectively just searching for a VP of sales in X type of company, whatever your prospect is, whatever the job function is that you target. Why aren't you searching for the companies? Because they're the accounts. It's not, you don't have a sales meeting in the morning and just say, look, I want to work with 10 VPs of X function. You say, I want to work with 10 of X company. You actually all have a prospective list. They're all companies. They're not people. So what Sales Optimize does when you physically use it is you'll just type in the actual type of company that you want to target. And then it will give you the complete list of all of the different companies that you can approach. And then you click into that particular section, and then it will show you all the details around the company first. So you can actually make sure it's a good fit. If you've got any hard requirements, do they need to be integrated with Slack or Salesforce or whatever it is that you need to work with them. And once they've passed that qualification process, that's then when you can get the insights around the people. So for that, it makes complete sense to me.
So, but I like that idea of because you're right, from the sales side, and I don't know other industries, but the sales side, the average sales rep stay in a position, like 18 months?
Yeah, it's high turnover.
Yeah. So if you think about it for all these other companies, because nobody is loyal anymore towards an organization, change, you're like, bro, I got to go. So if that's the case, then it's imperative that we make sure as a business or as an organization that we, like you're saying, go for the account and really start to build out, because there's probably multiple people within that organization that we need to keep in touch with in case Joe leaves next week. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think us searching for one job function doesn't make sense because no one person makes the purchase decision anyway. Yeah. Especially in a B2B heavy tech world with a complex buying process. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 10 people that are going to pull the trigger on the deal. So why are we just constantly searching the salespeople for one specific company one specific job functional person. Let's do the company first and then look at the actual people after, because even in organizations, job functions change slightly. So what a title might mean in one company doesn't necessarily mean the same in another. So I think we also need to be mindful of that, how actual organizations structure their hierarchy. So by doing it account first, then person second, you're just going to weigh and maximize what you do. It just makes complete sense to me. And this thing is cheaper, and the data is more accurate, and it's GDPR compliant. There's a whole bunch. Their website is salesoptimize.com. So for sure, just go and check them out. I mean, do a trial, compare it against ZoomInfo if you're loyal to it. But for me, in Europe specifically, the kind of comparison is untouchable. It's absolutely untouchable.
Yeah, and I really love that you brought something new there to the table. I love it. So that's our second one. Let's jump into the third one, because I'm sure you have a few more up your sleeve. But let's talk about the number 3.
Yeah, we've got as many as you want. I don't want to bore you all day. Right?
No, this is good, man. This is good stuff.
There's one. I'll tell you what. I'll give you one on the fly. Right. This is for the lazy salesperson. So This is definitely the super automated way of doing your outreach and getting your leads, right? And effectively, it's kind of an amalgamation of Sales Optimize and ZoomInfo, but then it actually automates the outreach at the same time. So this again is a really innovative company, right? I've done a test drive with them perhaps 2 months ago. They're pretty new in the world of what they do. I think they're perhaps 12 months old. They're based in Sweden or Denmark. It's Qualifier.ai is their name. And in the first year, they've got over 1,000 clients organically in 1 year. So wow. I think it says a lot about what they're doing, right? A hell of a lot. I mean, it's not necessarily my approach, because again, I think that, automation is fine to an extent. And obviously with a CRM anyway, providing you have kind of sequence capabilities in HubSpot or Salesforce, whatever, you can kind of automate or semi-automate your outreach that way without having to pay additionally for it. But this product, from kind of a data gathering perspective, from the intelligence around the actual business, and then doing the automation. If you're a salesperson that has to fund this product yourself, if your business isn't going to pay for ZoomInfo or Sales Optimize, this is something that you can physically afford yourself. Like if I walked into a job tomorrow as a sales rep and I didn't have the actual tools given to me needed to do a proper job, then I would spend the 200-300 quid a month on this for sure, because it's essentially the same thing. You log in, you put in your specific search criteria, you get the job function, you get the business, you get the company, you get all the insights. And then what it automatically does is start auto sending sequences to your prospects. And it will measure and it will optimize, and it will then start to track your open rates, your response rates, your conversions, and actually optimize towards the best message. And of course you can intervene. So you can set the sequences yourself. But I just think that there's smarter ways of doing it. But for sure, if I'm paying for this myself as a rep, and I don't have access to ZoomInfo, I don't have access to Sales Optimize, this is definitely something to seriously consider. That's
awesome, man. And again, it's an investment that anyone should be considering. I want to do one more. I think this is our bonus. We did 3 of them. So let's do one more at our lucky number 4.
Yeah. And what I'll certainly do is kind of save the best one to last, right? So this one, we're talking about lead generation tools, right? But this thing, I swear to God, you cannot call this thing a tool. This is not a tool. This is a weapon, right? This is a absolute freak of nature. This is a monster, right?
Okay. And you built it up now.
No, seriously, right? I done a test drive about 3 weeks ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago, right? And like, I'm always that guy. I go into the demos, I do the test drive, I come out, and kind of my business partner's looking at me like, does he like it? Doesn't he like it? How much are we going to spend now? What budget do I need to move around to get this? But this time I walked out and I just literally said, look, I don't care what this costs. We simply need it, because that's honestly how powerful it is, right? Because essentially, with lead generation, we're collecting all of this data, right? Our job is to get enough fuel to actually move the vehicle, right? And what this does, is the easiest way to describe it, is you've got all of your prospect customer information, right? You've got all their email addresses or office lines or whatever. Let's call that diesel. Let's call that unleaded. Let's call that normal regular fuel, right? Yeah. You plug this in to this product and it turns it into jet fuel. That is how effective this is. This is honestly the most incredible thing that I've used. So yeah, I'll give you the name. And I don't know when the post edit, whether you can do a drum roll or something just for the special effect. So the product, and it's US based, so I'll be surprised if people don't know this, is Connect and Sell.
Connect and Sell.
Have you heard of it?
So now you're going to make me feel bad. I don't know about it. Connect and sell. Bro, you're going to blow my mind now.
This is criminal. This is criminal. This is criminal. This blew my mind, right? This absolutely blew my mind. And they will not allow me to call it a tool. It's strict policy. They won't let you do a demo either. So one thing, if you look at it, do not ask for a demo because you're not allowed. I was not allowed. The only way to truly understand the value of Connect and Sell is to just dedicate a day and use this thing, right? Because what it does, let me break down what it does, right? So you've gone with Zoom Info, you've gone with Sales Optimize, you've got your data, right?
Yeah.
What you do, you transfer your data to Connect and Sell. So you literally just hand them your prospect's name, the company in a spreadsheet, and the office number, right? Now, you know this, I know this. Every salesperson will know the agony of spending time phoning office lines, navigating through all of the phone trees, and then all of a sudden you get to the directory, right? And it says, please enter the last 4 digits of your, who you're trying to reach's name. And you've either just happened to have the world's hardest name to spell, or the person you're trying to reach is one of 12 million Joneses, right? You've just wasted 10, 15 minutes on one person that you can't even get through to. So you're just completely, again, eradicating the amount of time that you're spending actually doing your job. What this does, right? They have a team of what I call phone tree wizards, right? They navigate through the directories, they navigate through the receptionists, all the PAs, and they connect you straight away without you doing a single thing to the prospect, right? You do nothing, absolutely nothing. You just put your headset on, you just sit there, you can be on LinkedIn, you can be doing your emails, and then the next second, you just hear a slight beep and your prospect is on the phone.
So is this AI doing the routing or someone?
I don't think I'm allowed to say. I mean, essentially, as far as I know, it's humans, right?
Yeah.
It's super skilled phone tree wizards. But
wow,
yeah, I mean, it might be AI, but as far as I know, this is a real team. This is a real team of people doing this part. So it's just so incredible. You just get a beep in your ear, and I did a test drive, so to give you the actual real hard data behind this, right? I did a test drive for 2 hours, and in 2 hours, I mean, how many dials could you honestly make, right? Perhaps 30 at most. If you're
going straight, not stop, not going on Instagram. You're going straight.
Yeah. And you're sweating, you're frustrated. You've probably not even connected to a prospect, right?
Yeah.
This thing in 2 hours did 411 dials. It connected me to 15 prospects. And I'm not talking, sales manager or low level people. I'm talking C-level of Fortune 500 companies. So possibly the hardest people in business to get hold of on the fly. This did 411 dials. It got me 15 conversations. I set up 5 meetings and had 1 follow-up in 2 hours. That blows my mind.
Yeah, that's like next level stuff there. You can't beat that.
No. And that's why, right? It's expensive. There's no point saying it isn't. But the ROI potential with this, if all day you can plug in for 2 hours and have 15 to 20 real prospect conversations, not PAs, not voicemails, not dial trees, real hard conversations, then you can really do business from this thing. So for sure, we're using it. We are going to use it. I literally can't see a reason why we can't use this, because that, again, it reduces that time that I'm spent doing nothing or not doing revenue generating activities. This puts me plugged in for 2 hours every single day, speaking to people. And it's the conversations that matter beyond all of the data and everything else. There's no point having all of this fuel if we've honestly got no vehicle to put it into. So what I would say for anybody seriously looking to scale their business, go and get yourself Sales Optimize or Zoom Info, whatever you prefer, but I would use Sales Optimize, and then go and get Connect and Sell and stack it, because that is honestly the recipe for market domination. No doubt about it.
Dude, love it, man. It's amazing stuff there. If there's one major piece of advice you want to give to somebody listening to this episode who's concerned and want to get those high quality leads, what's that one major piece of advice?
Like I said earlier, do not ever rely on one source for lead generation. If you're on a long journey, as you are in business, don't expect one gas station to be your sole fuel. Put multiple gas stations in place so you never run out.
Dude, love it, man. I love how simple and straightforward this is. If folks out there want to get in touch with you or interested in coming to your event, what's the way for them to go about doing so?
Yes, csouk.com. That's the best way. And just quick, it'll take 10 seconds. October, we're releasing CSO Connected. It'll be an online portal for learnings and education. You have access to all the interviews by these world sales leaders. So look out for csoconnected.com post-October. and just subscribe there, because that will provide some real quality learnings for you.
Bro, man, we absolutely love it, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on a show.
No,
today,
thank
Josh.
you. Thank you very much.
It was absolute honor, and super grateful that we've been able to assist, and you've been able to assist us as well, man. So keep up the good work. And I gave you guys all the information. We're going to put it back in the show notes again, but go back and check out the event. You're going to absolutely love it. Thanks again, brother.
Thank you. Take care, man.
I'm telling you, if you haven't connected with Joshua already, go ahead and find all of his information in the show notes and click connect. You can connect with him on Instagram as well as on LinkedIn. You can also email him. And if you're in the UK or traveling to the UK or want to take your team to the UK, he's hosting an event. It's a great conference, man. I'm telling you, you should go and check it out. Find all the details again back in the show notes. thesalesevangelist.com/the-word episode number 1144. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/the-word episode number 1144. The conference is called CSO UK. Because here's the problem. Sometimes we talk about stuff and we will listen to podcasts, but going to events, we get a chance to interact and meet with other people, as well as to gain insights from the speakers. And this event is intimate, so you get a chance to actually connect and talk to those individuals. You can't beat that. Find again all the details in the show notes, thesalesevangelist.com/the-word episode number 1144. And while you're there, check out TSE Certified Sales Training Program. Take advantage of the free offer, the first 2 modules free just for you, as well as audibletrial.com/TSE. Get a book of your choice. If you want to test one out that I like, check out The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. Fun book to listen to. I share all this stuff with you because I want to help you. I want you to find more ideal customers. I want you to build stronger value. I want you to close more deals. But most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Stay tuned for a scene from our next episode.
So you got to put in a survival context or a change context. You have to make sure that they know you're an expert and that you speak their language. And they have to totally believe that what you do is hard and nobody else can do it at the level that you're doing it. Until all that belief system is baked in, there's no point in explaining the features and benefits. And if you ask me to, pitch for the role play, that you suggested, I wouldn't get to features and benefits till after half the pitch was over.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the show today. I truly appreciate it. It was an absolute honor to have you. And if you haven't done so already, I ask that you go ahead and hit subscribe to the podcast. Show your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, anyone that could benefit from a sales podcast, how they can subscribe as well. And you know what? My birthday is coming up next month in August. A cool gift would be a rating and review from you. You can go ahead and do so on Apple Podcasts. It would be truly appreciated. Our show today was produced by myself and the Sales Podcast Network. It was edited and mixed together by the one and only Jersh Nobel. Our content writer and show note creator is Mrs. Shannon Rasmussen. You can find audio credits to this and all of our episodes in the show notes. And as always, I am your host, your coach, your mentor, your guide down the sales journey, Mr. Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. Sales Podcast Network.